We're back today with some more exciting stuff. In the last meeting, we had some important but little less exciting settings for Google Sheets and Google Scripts. This time, we're going to do some fun stuff with some macros and some scripts and as they relate to macros. So here we are. So macros are a way to record and then play back repetitive actions in Google Sheets. It's also a way, if you are writing your own scripts, to try doing something, see how Google Scripts converts it into a script from your action, to then look at the code and see how they write it, and then use that code for your own writing. So I'll show you that in a second, but the reason you'd use it more often is that if you are doing a repetitive action, and you do it every week, every certain amount of time in Google Sheets, you can record that action and play it back, so you don't have to do the same thing every time. So in this example, you'll see we have this data export from a file. So this comes from an external piece of software, and this is what it looks like. It's fine, just a little bit messy, a little confusing. You may want to clean it up, change the formatting before you send it to your boss or a client, or even just for your own purposes. And here's what we want it to look like. Nice and pretty and colorful and easy to understand, some highlights, some formatting, all looking much better, obviously. So let's show you first what's going to happen. We'll do tools, macro, and we're going to run this macro formatting example right here. And you'll see it's all going to happen for us. So this is the same thing as I mentioned before. It's just I recorded the actions I took and then I played them back. And so it just does this for me now automatically every week. And this is an actual job I had for a while where I would download reports, I'd format them, and I'd send them to a client every Monday. And that would take me forever. And it turned out that with a little bit of work, I figured out I could record it and play it back. And I became the hero of the department because I was saving everyone in my junior role 45 minutes to an hour at least once a week. So, and it's also obviously really boring work that's prone to errors. So no one wants to do it. So if you can automate this, it's a really nice thing. So all it really takes is going to Tools, and let me just make a copy of the sheet so we keep the original. For now, we'll just call this for testing because we'll delete it when we're done. So all you have to do is Tools, Macros, Record Macro. You'll see the dashboard will pop up. You can use the absolute or relative references. We talked about this before with the dollar signs and using formulas. When you want to use an exact location or you want the macro to use an active selection. So generally I use absolute references because they're a little bit simpler and less complicated, but you may need to understand the difference and you should spend some time doing that if your macro is not working properly. Keep in mind this course is meant to show you what's possible more than how to do everything in detail, because then when it's time for you to know what you need to do, you'll be able to figure out, but it would take years to go through all that. What you should be learning is as you go, when you need to do something, that's when you implement it, that's when you learn it really well. For now, I'll show you what's possible. So I'm recording. As you can see, this is blinking. I'll click save when I'm done. I can collapse it if I want to. So I'm not going to go through every step, but let's just say that I wanted to add a row between there. I wanted to make this bold. Maybe I center it. And you'll see in some cases you can't see what's happening. I'm using the keyboard. So when I do Control Option I, R instead of row, Control Option I, R there. So you can use the keyboard too. It records both the same way. You could have just done insert row above, insert row below, right? My report, and so on. So and you'll see it's recording. See how it's printing right there as I do things, right? So if I select those and I do Command B for bold, Action 17 set format style. So it's recording this all as I go. I can make the text red, I can make the background black, and so on. So now I'm going to click save. I'll name this my second example macro. You can then have a shortcut here, Command Option Shift. Let's say I made it 6. Now next time if I were in the sheet and I pressed Command Option Shift 6, it would run that macro. So if I go, watch, I'll make a, so you see right here, by the way, the macro saved, and I can then open it up. But I just want to show you if I did make a copy of this, there it is. Then I did Command Option Shift 6, it's running. So you'll see it doing the same thing that I just did a second ago. So it's that simple. Really cool, really powerful way to do this stuff. And so then if I go to my original, it goes from this to this, or in the other example, from that to this, right? All just different examples of it. And then if you go to Tools, script editor, or as you saw, that menu popped up at the bottom left-hand corner to open or edit the script, they go into here into a macros file in my script editor. So here is every line of what I just did. Here is the first one, macro example 1, and here is the second one, the one that you just saw me create. And so this is what it does. When I am typing things using the keyboard, using the mouse in Google Sheets, Google Scripts, Google Sheets together are recording my actions and turning them into code. So here's just what they're doing, right? Spreadsheet, get range, A2. That means I clicked on cell A2 and I selected it. Then there are get next data cell. So these are all, if you want to, this is a great way to learn the scripting and learn how macros work. You can actually go through and research what all of these means just by Googling it, right? Google script. And then you can look in the Google documentation to learn what all of these are. There's all this documentation in there. You can click in and really dig into it. So this is a great way to learn. But as you can see, I'm inserting rows. I'm setting bold font. I'm centering things. Again, I'm selecting cells. I set a value when I wrote that my report in that top corner. Right, when I wrote my report there. So you can go through and see everything you did, setting the font color, setting the background color. And you see this has another dot because it's just a connection to this line. So this is the same thing. Set the font color, set the background color. You can just go to the next line if you want. But that's how macros work. So it's a really powerful tool for avoiding errors, saving time, not having to do repetitive tasks. It really is a neat way to do it. So you should try doing this. Again, this couldn't be simpler. It's a great way to save that time, but also to learn as you go. So do it, and then after you do it, run one of these and try changing it. Try changing in here the background color. Try changing what this cell said to, right, whatever you want to change it to. And you'll see, press Command S to save or do File, Save. And then you'll run it, and it will do that same thing again, right? So you saw I changed my report to hamburger, so next time it would say hamburger there. Obviously, it's a silly example, but it gives you the example of how it works. So play around with that. Dig in, definitely just test them, try all the different things, and use it in your work. Next time you're thinking about, that's the main point of this course is to be using this stuff in your work when you're actually trying to do something, when you have a repetitive task, when you have something you're doing that is prone to errors. Think about, can I automate this? Can I speed this up somehow? Am I going to make a mistake? Could I save the company lots of time and money by doing this in a different way? And you'll find out over time that, right, well, you didn't learn every detail in this course of how to do it. You'll now know this is possible. You'll start playing with macros, you'll start Googling, and you'll actually be able to get this done. It can seem somewhat complicated at first. This will end up way easier than you think if you build and learn over time. So don't think like I'm going to write the perfect script tomorrow. Think tomorrow I'll record a simple macro. The next day, I'll change something in that macro. The day after that, maybe you start doing some more custom stuff. So build over time. Don't worry that you can't do all this stuff day one. Add things over time. Learn the functions, learn the formulas, learn the formatting, add the macros, add the scripts, and so on. Thanks.